Hi folks, let us get started with Indian geography. We shall discuss India, its size and location. If we talk about India's size, it is the seventh largest country in the world with an area of around 3.2 million square kilometers, which is 2.4% of world's total area. If we see the largest countries of the world, the largest country will be Russia, followed by Canada, USA, China. So the largest country in terms of area is Russia. The second largest is Canada. Then at the third place we have USA. Fourth largest country in the world is China. Fifth is Brazil. Sixth is Australia. And the seventh largest country, as we've already discussed, is India, with an area of 126 miles square or 3.2 million kilometers square. Apart from the sequence of these largest seven countries of the world, we need to remember the area of India as well, because this is sometimes asked directly in the exams. Now let us discuss the most populous countries in the world. China is the most populous country in the world, while India is the second most populous country in the world. Nearly 17.5% of the world's population resides in India. That means out of every 5.5 human beings that exist on earth, one is an Indian. So if we have a look at the most populous countries of the world, the highest population of the world resides in Asia and Africa, while continents like Europe and Australia are least populous and hence prosperous. As we have already discussed, that China is the most populous country in the world and India is the second most populous country in the world. Both these countries lying in Asia make it the most populous continent in the world. Let us now talk about India's location. If we talk about India's location, it lies in the northern hemisphere. This is equator, and if you closely observe this map, you will see that most of the landmass is lying in the northern hemisphere, while the southern hemisphere is predominantly covered with ocean waters. We now know that India lies in the northern hemisphere because it lies above the equator. Now, if we talk about the exact location of India in terms of parallels of latitudes and meridians of longitudes, India lies between 8 degree 4 minute north and 37 degree 6 minutes north latitude. This is the southernmost part of India, while this is the northernmost part of India. Now 0 degree meridian of longitude passes somewhere around this place. So if this is 0 degree, then the parts of the earth located towards east would be designated as a few degrees east of the standard meridian. So the westernmost part of India is 68 degrees 7 minutes east and the easternmost part of India is 97 degree 25 minutes east. From the exam point of view, it is very important to learn the exact location of India within the parallels of latitudes and within the meridians of longitudes. Now, in order to revise the location of India, we can mark this as 8 degree 4 minute north and this as 37 degree 6 minute north. Both of these are parallels of latitudes. This would be 68 degree 7 minute east and this would be 97 degree 25 minute east. India can be divided into 6 zones: north, south, west, east, central zone, which covers the states like Madhya Pradesh, and northeast zone. Thus, India can be divided into 6 zones: north, west, south, east, central, and northeast. We also need to learn the distance between the northernmost point and the southernmost point of the Indian mainland, and this distance is around 3214 kilometers. If we talk about the distance between the westernmost part of India and the easternmost part of India, it would be around 2933 kilometers. We know that India is surrounded by many neighboring countries like Pakistan in the northwest, China, Nepal, Bhutan, Myanmar, and also Afghanistan. whose boundary is actually touched by the Pak-occupied Kashmir. So we no longer have direct access to Afghanistan. Anyways, at this point we need to learn the length of the coastline of India. So the coastline of India extends from Gujarat to Maharashtra, Goa, Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, West Bengal, and the length of this coastline is 6,100 kilometers. Now if we also add the length of the coastline of Lakshadweep Islands and Andaman and Nicobar Islands, which is around 1416.6 kilometers. So the length of coastline of India is approximately 7516.6 kilometers. Now this is a very important number. Questions are directly asked and there are four options given from which we have to select the best option. And the best option is the closest one. So sometimes it is asked and the answer is 7520 kilometers being the closest option. Now if we talk about the land frontiers with neighboring countries, the length of the land frontier would be around 15,200 kilometers. The longest river in India is the holy river Ganga. If we follow the path that is followed by the river Ganga since its origin somewhere here in Uttarakhand, it flows into the state of Uttar Pradesh and then into Bihar. After draining a small area in the state of Jharkhand, the river Ganga enters West Bengal and finally drains into the Bay of Bengal. Thus, Ganga is the longest river in India with a length of 2525 kilometers, starting from its origin in Uttarakhand to Sundarbans Delta in West Bengal. The northernmost point of India is Siachen Glacier. This glacier lies near the Karakoram range. The southernmost point of India lies in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. This lowest point is called Indira Point. After the 2004 tsunami, Indira Point is now underwater. But the textbooks have not yet been updated, so we'll follow Indira Point as the southernmost point of India, lying in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. It is important to remember here that the parallel of latitude of Indira Point is 6 degree 45 minutes north, while the lowermost point of the Indian mainland is 8 degree 4 minutes north. Thus, this is not the southernmost point of India, but the southernmost point of the Indian mainland, while Indira Point is the southernmost point of the Indian landmass that is located in the Union Territory of Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Now the westernmost part of India, west of Ghurmota in Gujarat, west portion of Ghurmota. Kibithu is the easternmost part of India. And as we can clearly see, Kibithu lies in the state of Arunachal Pradesh. The highest point in India is Mount K2, which is located somewhere in this region, which is now occupied by Pakistan. The height of this point is 8,611 meters. Although it is lesser in height in comparison to the 8,848 meters height of Mount Everest, Mount K2 is one of the most difficult peaks to climb in the world because of extreme weather conditions and very dangerous slopes of the mountain. So remember, if the question asks the highest point in India, it would be Mount K2 with a height of 8,611 meters. But if the question asks highest point of Himalayas in India, it would be Kanchenjunga, which has a height of 8,598 meters and is located in the state of Sikkim, very close to the border of Nepal. The lowest point in India lies in Kerala. This place called Kuttanad lies at a depth of 2.2 meters below the sea level. Let us now talk about territorial waters. Territorial waters is an area of water over which a state has jurisdiction. It comprises of territorial sea, contiguous zone, and exclusive economic zone EEZ. This shows the extent of India's territorial sea, which is around 12 nautical miles from the land boundary of India into the sea. These 12 nautical miles are regarded as the sovereign territory of India. After this we have contiguous zone, which extends up to 24 nautical miles into the sea. Within this contiguous zone, India can exert limited control for the purpose of preventing infringement of its laws. But there is only limited control, unlike the first 12 nautical miles of the territorial sea, where India is regarded as the sovereign territory. After this, we have exclusive economic zone, which extends up to 200 nautical miles into the sea. These 200 nautical miles of economic zone provide the coastal nation, that is India in this case, with control over the economic resources like fishing, mining, oil exploration. However, India cannot control or prohibit the passage of other countries' marine expeditions above or under the sea. Thus, economic resources of this place are under India's control, and hence it is called exclusive economic zone for India or for any coastal nation up to the limit of 200 nautical miles. Thanks for watching. Happy learning.